Hey everybody, welcome back. We're here with Candy Panda. He's the AD for SK Gaming, and that was a super exciting match. I'm happy to be talking to a victor up here, and I gotta admit, we weren't sure that you guys were going to win that until right about the end there.
Well, it wasn't as exciting as it was for you as it was for us, because for us it was like we expected to win quicker because we were really confident going into this tournament, but we had some problems, so it took quite a while. It was kind of disappointing.
With that expectation to win, I mean, what was going through your minds when you were falling behind in kills, you were falling behind in towers? Well, however, you always had the gold lead.
We didn't actually know that. I mean, we could feel it because we could still push towers and push objectives, but we didn't know we had the gold lead. We just knew we were like 4-10 kills behind in the mid game. So we just tried what our combo does best, is just gather up, push the towers, and that's what we did.
Excellent.
Yeah, we saw multiple occasions that you push up into the other lanes, you push up the other lanes, and then suddenly out of nowhere it seemed, oh, there's 5 SK players in the mid lane. They're just there, and a tower would fall, and a tower would fall. But it got to the point where LowlandLions started to realize this, and they turned it back on you, and they started doing the same thing. And then we saw Morso head down into that bottom lane, start split pushing that. And while your combo wasn't there, you couldn't initially dive on them in the mid lane. You had to send Freddy down to deal with it. At that point, I mean, you obviously thought Freddy was strong enough to go with it. As soon as Morso took Freddy down, what went through your head? I obviously you expected him to stand up to scruff, but suddenly that must have thrown a spanner in.
Well, actually, we didn't expect him to win or even hold the lane. We just had to send someone back to not just drop it in like immediately. So we just sent him back. Maybe he would die, maybe not. At least we could hold the tower until we get the inhib mid. Mm-hmm. And that worked out. It was still kind of unfortunate because as soon as I sent Kazakh's bottom, we didn't really have an answer to that. But then I think they made a mistake when we went for mid, and I was going to gather with them. If Kazakh would have just pushed bottom through, he could have finished the game or forced us back, but he went mid to defend, and then we could just force him mid as 5 again. That kind of gave us the advantage there.
I want to talk, and I'm sure this probably crossed your mind too, your 2-man defense with Svenskeren, Aatrox and Corki under that middle turret, 4-man push coming in. I can imagine comms was a bit frantic at that point, but abusing the regen passives, abusing the Banshees and the Guardian Angels. How intense was that from you guys? Did you see that going quite so smoothly? Did you think you'd get all 4 of them, or?
I was doing my best. I mean, I was getting home guard, I was getting red pot, I was just getting into it. I was really fed at that point. I was like 7-2 or 5-2, I don't remember. So I just did my best. After that, I was really pumped. It was really exciting because we came back. The game would be over at that point else because they would have taken 2 inhibs. So yeah, that was like the last push we needed to finish the game.
I was just curious because for a while in that game, you were kind of ahead on towers as well. You were pushing down their inhib towers. And then LowlandLions managed to mount somewhat of a comeback. What were the comms like at that point? What was the mentality like? Because you went from a pretty commanding position to then being on the back foot yourself.
Yeah, well, it turned when Kazakhs went bottom, as I said before, I said before too. And at that point, our mid laner was just repeating, like, go mid, I'm playing neither, just go mid already. But it wasn't that easy because, like, they were split pushing, so we had to wait for a mistake because we couldn't deal with Kazakhs. But then, as I said before, they made a mistake and they gathered mid instead of keeping to split push, and then we could finish the game. Or, like, at least get the inhib. And,
and also, I was just curious, like, I'm an AD player myself, so seeing you picking Corki against Lucian was interesting. Do you view him as a hard counter to Lucian, or were you playing for the later stages of the game?
Well, it's kind of like there are 2 ADs who can hold, actually 3 ADs who can hold versus Lucian, which are Israel, Corki, and Caitlyn. But I found that when they picked Shyvana, Israel didn't have enough damage to deal with Shyvana because she would be too tanky. And I don't like Caitlyn too much because when you fall behind, you just fall behind, you can't come back. So I picked Corki up, and it worked out really well. He can hold versus Lucian on his own.
Yeah, as we saw with the 2 versus 4.
Yes, that was incredible.
Defense. That was amazing to watch.
So you have 2 other teams in your group. You just took out LowlandLions. The BYOC team hasn't been announced yet, but we have this other team, Storm Gamers Clan. I mean, you have to go up against them. Hopefully you did your homework. What do you know about them?
Well, we couldn't do our homework because nobody could scout them.
Neither can we.
They're a visible team.
Yes, so luckily we can watch the game now against LowlandLions, and we can gather some information from that. But overall, I mean, you could assume that when they're unknown, they're not really that experienced, and that strong as may other teams be. So we're confident against them.
Excellent. Well, you guys have had some interesting roster changes lately, some bit of a shake-up. How do you feel this has affected your team play?
I think right now it affected it positive, I would say. Even though we might not be as strong, I think we can grow more. We had a lot of personal conflicts in the whole team, and we had to solve that. So I think now everybody's happy. Osterlot will be happy, and Kevin and Jurkibot will be happy too. And if it works out for us, we will be happy too. So it's fine.
Oh, was it painful losing Greg Sky Williams' #1 choice for most handsome player? Do you feel like that's a role you can fill now?
Have you seen the video where Greg picked the top
Actually,
there?
I didn't. So
Oh, it's a treat. You should check that out.
I will.
Well, thank you so much for that exciting game. We're going to see some more from you when you go up against Storm Gaming Clan. So keep a close eye on that match. Let us know what they're all about, and we'll have some information on them coming up soon. We are just waiting for everyone to get into the lobby here,
Well,
so they have a bit more
They
time.
vanished. So I don't know
They jumped out again. That's okay. They have a bit more time. So you guys, what was your travel like here? You guys feeling all settled and prepared? You look wide awake.
Oh, really? Well, that's surprising actually, because we traveled for like 12 hours straight. We had some problems with the bus, so that was quite the pain. But after a night of sleep, we are well rested.
All right. Well, hope you get a little more rest tonight. And I have a feeling we're going to see you guys playing tomorrow. Of course, you got to play that BYOC team, maybe make it all the way to the semifinals. Is there anything you want to say to the fans who are watching?
Well, thanks to the fans who are still supporting us. I know that when Osterlot left, a lot of fans left us too who are fans of Osterlot, but I hope we can make you proud again. So, yeah, look forward to the relegation.
All right, thank you so much. We are going to take a look at our players who are joining the next match. That's going to be Storm Gaming Clan going up against the LowLandLions. Let's check them out.
We'll check them out in a moment.
Yeah,
players are in the
they're
lobby.
checking you guys out. They're really into the Panky Vince thing going
Panky
on over here.
Metis.
That's
That's all I can say.
Probably better. There we go. Kialis. There we go. He's down on the list. So, starting off on that first seat, Kialis down on the left-hand side. Followed along after him, Visiality. These, of course, players we saw in the previous game. Had a fairly impressive performance on Lucian himself. Next up, I Am Heat. Had a very nice time. Just controlling the pace of that last game, really helping his team out as and where they needed it. Bro in that next slot. Some shaky moments. But yeah, he's an old school COD 4 player, so he's a bit of a heartthrob for metas. And of course, more so, that very, very dominating Kazakhs really made an impact towards that last game, as you saw from Candy Penna. Split pushing really threw a spanner in their works.
Yep, and for Storm Games Clan, it's going to be Molson rocking up at the top lane. After that is Worst AD Carry West. He's going to be playing the AD Carry. Next up is going to be Amir playing the mid. And a very calm looking Gladic who is going to be running in the jungle. And that will leave the last player who is the support, actually the top laner, and that's going to be Cavalier.
Some very gung-ho names in there. I like that.
Yeah,
Cavalier.
yeah.
There's a lot of different players, a lot of nicknames, but Cavalier's a new one. It's a good one for me. But without further ado, we've finished introducing the players. They are straight into their pick ban phase, and well, I want to see what Storm Games can come out with. We said before, and everyone said they can't research this team. They seem to be complete ghosts. The first ban's Shyvana. Nothing too crazy there, but once these picks start rolling through, could really give us a taste of what these guys are up to.
But interestingly enough, before Candy Panda actually started his interview, he did say to us that this was the same position a lot of teams were when they first started playing against Empire. They didn't know who Empire were, and then look who they are now, Gambit Gaming. So just because you don't know a team doesn't necessarily make them bad. These guys could bring the unknown factor, bring in some strange champions that we don't see a lot of play over, and just crush. So I am looking forward to this game. Bans coming out, first time that we've seen a Kazakhs ban or a Jax ban today. But again, Shyvana, Renekton, Shen, Nidalee, all eliminated.
Jax is a new one, though. Nidalee, we saw banned, obviously, against the earlier games, and I suspect we'll see it banned against Jez's next time SA play. But Jax, very different. I'm interested to see who SGC want to play and realised why, because in doing so, they've left open, there you go, Elise, and an instant lock-in by Bro as soon as she was let through. First pick, Vayne, very interesting and a little bit confusing, I must admit. because of how easy it is to counter, because of how many different ways there are to try and shut down that Vayne. If you pick up that early on, LowLandLions can now build their entire team around bullying her down. So for her, them SGC to reveal that so quickly and so early on, they've got to have some plan in place.
Exactly. We did see a fairly early Vayne lock-in, actually. I say early, it was against the Caitlyn, I should say. And it worked out really well for Team Property. So it could be a case that they'll just switch it up. They've already locked in the Irelia and Elise, who are very good champions against the Vayne, because Irelia is one of those staple anti-AD champions. She sticks to you like glue. It's very difficult to escape a Fed Irelia. So going forward into this game, I'm going to be super excited to see what Morsu's going to pull out his bag, because I've not seen Irelia actually for quite a long time.
Quite a while we haven't, especially on this patch too. I know Wicked's trying to figure out a way to make her work in 3-1-4 with all the gameplay changes, with all everything shaping up around him. He wants to bring her back. Don't know how successful he's being or whether he will or not, but 3-1-3 hasn't got those changes. It's not quite as versatile, and well, see if Morso can pull it off. But so far, SGC locked in that Aatrox and a Sona to go on alongside, so there's a lot of crowd control there, some good peel to try and keep Vayne alive as and when Irelia and Elise inevitably try and jump on her. But they're going to have a tough time in lane against that Lucian combo, which, as we mentioned before, is very good at bullying, long-range harass. Lulu alone does quite a lot of damage too, so when you join that Lucian damage on with it, then it's quite a bit of pain coming out.
Maybe a bit of Nif actually rubbed off onto Kialis here, because he was playing against the Lulu last time around. Zac and Orianna. That is a brutal combination, but with the recent, I say recent, it wasn't that recent, but the changes that Zac had, we've not seen him played pretty much at all.
No, this is so, 3 months ago kind of gameplay.
Yeah, exactly. This is very reminiscent of a few months ago. The rest of it's by and large understandable, but that Zac for me is quite interesting.
Did not expect to see that one bit, that ball delivery system in there. That Zac E over the top of everything into the back line, landing on with that Orianna ball. Beautiful ultimates potential in there. There is a lot of potential, but can they really make Zac work? Have they been practicing enough? Have they got something on this patch that other people hadn't seen coming? I don't know. It's interesting. We do see a last pick Ziggs potential here from LowLandLions. Bear in mind, Gragas is still open, so we could see that same dull, very boring matchup. And yes, there we go. Switched across at the last minute, playing it safe, going with Gragas in the mid lane against Orianna. So of course we're going to see that shape and unfold as we'd expect. We see early aggression from Orianna, lots of pressure coming in with those auto attacks, the damage, the command attack, just taking control of it while the junglers are occupied in other parts of the map. But ultimately, once Gragas gets some AP up, once he gets a little bit of damage, he'll easily have to clean out those waves, quick barrel here, quick barrel there, and they'll go back and forwards, just nonchalantly farming wave after wave off of each other until they both become about 400 CS and destroy everything in 2 abilities. But that's the way that mid lane goes.
I really do like the Gragas pick as well, because it's against Vayne, and burst damage is Vayne's Achilles heel, like CC burst damage. So not only is it a lot of burst damage, but you look at the kind of composition that SGC are running, the displacement factor of Gragas as well could prove to be astronomically important to their victory here, because if they see Zac charging up the elastic slingshot, no thanks, I'll just knock you back, and suddenly you're useless. The same with Aatrox as well. Aatrox runs in, knock him back, reset the fight, rinse and repeat.
And the other thing with Gragas against both Vayne and Aatrox, the 40%, which is huge, and a lot of people don't realize it's there, the 40% attack speed slow just by landing that Q. Doesn't even need to have that much damage on it, just knocks down their attack speed immensely. And when you're against this patch worth of Aatrox, it's still very, very powerful in his attack speed later on. And as we mentioned, Vayne, the amount of true damage proc she can get off is pivotal to her fights. So a couple of barrels here slows that down, really, really helps out. But again, there's still a lot else that could go on, and this is the first time we've seen Elise so far, because she slipped through the picks and bans. So what kind of impact Brobro can have with her? I mean, he immediately picked her. So he's definitely looking forward to, definitely glad to be getting this champion, and see what he can do with her.
As I said in the first game, just the last game that we casted on Brobro, he's a very aggressive jungler, and Elise fits that perfectly. Land a cocoon, you will get a kill, especially early game. But I think we're ready to jump on the Rift here, Panky.
Definitely ready to jump in. So we'll go straight in and see what these teams do. We've seen before some blue sides invading up towards the top half of the red jungle, planting down some wards, getting some vision in and checking out the lane swaps. And we've seen red teams making their way onto the opposite side of the blue-red jungle and planting some wards and getting some vision and checking them out. Seen a couple of teams get a bit braver. LowLandLions were one of them, trying to perhaps catch out their opposition on the retreat, or as they backed up and reset. As of yet, haven't seen that succeed, and we haven't seen any level 1 engagements, but LowLandLions trying something different again.
They are looking to catch out SGC, who seemingly nobody playing right now knows a great deal about. So again, that unknown factor, kind of very difficult to predict, could very well prove to be a huge attribute in their favor. As you say, the LowLandLions, they're playing this one aggressively now, and they are going to be going in for the red, planting down loads of wards, but they're walking over wards themselves. This is going to give SGC a lot of presence, a lot of knowledge about what's going on.
SGC were playing very tentative about going into that top side of the jungle before they saw anything. Then they saw LowLandLions, because of course going that route, they arrived a bit later than originally planned. So as soon as they were spotted, SGC immediately started to make their way deeper in, planting some further placed wards and getting the vision they wanted. LowLandLions this time have placed a lane scouter ward on the bottom half of the map to have a look at where SGC is sending their lanes. At the moment, Vayne's heading down towards that bottom lane all alone, so just now walk straight past the ward. See whether that gets spotted or not. I imagine it would. But LowLandLions have already planned to keep their Lucian Lulu combo down here as well. But Vayne, ooh, I like this. If this is intentional, I don't know. But SGC send Vayne down past that ward, and then she immediately recalls and goes back up to join Sona at the blue buff.
This is just mind games 101.
That was very smart. I like that. They hadn't seen Irelia in the ward topside herself yet, but if Lucian and Vayne were going to be, Lucian and Lulu were going to be, they would have had to see them. Same time Vayne had walked past. They'd noticed that timing. They realized, okay, we haven't seen an AD carry support up there. It's probably going to be their standard top laner. All right, juke them out. You go bottom, and then rotate top after a quick recall. That was nice.
This is going to be a pretty horrific lane for Morsu, because you're allowing Vayne to get free farm, but also Lula's going to be constantly spamming you with Sona. So Irelia is a melee champion, and it's going to constantly be spammed back towards her own tower. So again, maybe it's a case that Vayne just feels very vulnerable against Lucian and also Lulu, and just doesn't want any part of that, similar to the Caitlyn from last game.
Yeah, I mean, she's going to take a lot of damage from Lulu on her own, as well as the Lucian bullying in there. We did see Zach help out his jungler, taking a couple of creeps. And, well, thanks to the slow push from this LowLandLions bottom lane, he's going to miss very few creeps as he now returns to the bottom. So he should have a slight gold advantage over Irelia. But Irelia's not done too bad picking up CS before Vayne arrived into lane, so she has already hit level 2 before being zoned out. And now Brobo has come to join her.
Yep, so just trying to keep Irelia significant and relevant in these early stages, but also he's not shown himself just yet. So in terms of actually in the top bush. So for all SGC know, they may very well know that Brobos came top, but he could have recalled. In doing so, it's how patient can he be? Morsu's jumping in by himself, trying to bait across this gank. The exhaust has been popped down. Cocoon as well. Will this be first blood? Lula still has the flash available. Exhaust was used previously. Now Brobos taking a ton of damage. Could be falling himself, forced to flash away. Here comes worst AD carry. The ignite, the cocoon again. The first blood will go down. I believe to Vayne, indeed it will, but now Morsu has double buffs. Lula's going to be falling down. Irelia is going to be super happy with this result.
Could have been catastrophic for LowLandLions. That initial bait from Morsu took a lot more damage than he should. Brobo started taking quite a bit of punishment, but that second auto attack, that last second flash, and managing to get the stun off afterwards, just about managed to take SGC's pairing down low enough. Which is in the middle lane, Mia versus I'm Heat, both going straight up, facing off against each other. Ignite's blown on the pair of them, both down to less than 100 HP, and then backing out and resetting. But a double kill on Irelia could not be a better start for more so in that 2v1.
And double buff.
And double
so
buff.
It just gets even worse.
Double buff.
As Shox would like to say. But in mid lane, I would like to point out that Maya used both summoners. Gragas still has flash. And Maya went back to spawn. So Gragas coming out slightly ahead in that trade. He will be recalling now, but when he gets back to the lane, he's going to have flash available. So he's going to be very difficult to lock down.
Yeah, he has that better sustain, as we mentioned, because of his passive, that extra health that comes back, so he could afford to stay, whereas Orianna couldn't. So he came out better for it. We do see, however, Cavalier now down here with the support of Aatrox, making her way around the backside of Viziality and Kialis. They don't know, though, that Brobo is in here. And down into passive goes Aatrox. He's already used his Q, but the lead didn't complete, so he's got to blow his flash. He can't get away from that. They switch onto Cavalier, but then they do finish off Aatrox just before he gets onto turret. Quick flash away from Cavalier keeps him alive, stops him burning his own revive passive, but Brobo just a little bit too low on HP after a couple of turret shots.
Brobo's had such a good game, though, so far, Panky. Involved in every kill, right place at the right time.
That's why Elise was banned out.
Exactly.
She's incredibly powerful. Just showing up, she brings enough crowd control and early game burst damage, and with that execute, that twin bite, at this point in the game, she can really swing fights.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said before, Elise is one of Brobro's go-to champions. That's the reason they insta-locked it. As soon as it was open, it's like, we want Elise. Now top lane, Morsu's able to almost 1 versus 2. He's taking a lot of damage though, so he needs to be careful. In fact, are they going to go past this? Vitality in the meanwhile is flashing up red at bot lane. Here comes Aurelia back in again, will be taken down from Vayne in enough time as well to get the double buffs herself. So worst AD carry West is going to be able to get back unless Brobro catches up with the double buff. In fact, the cocoon will land on Lula. He wants no part of this. Suddenly they're going to turn back around again with the red buff constantly slowing down Brobro, who burnt the flash previously. He will manage to escape, but that's an AD carry Vayne with double buffs now.
I'm Heat taking so much damage here in the mid lane. Mia's using the quick command distance for the move speed buff. Can't get the last command attack and isn't going to chase any further around that corner. Gragas with one final body slam gets himself to further safety, but this time Orianna doesn't have to leave the lane, Gragas does. Bottom lane, we saw Vizialis blowing barrier and flash to get away from Zac on his own. He had no jungler at that point to blow all of that. Zac nearly lost his life to Lulu as well, but he was playing with fire and made it out alive. And then Aatrox came down to help him push the lane in. So SGC having a pretty strong start to this game, despite a slight screw up and past double kill over to Morso.
Yeah, and now Morsu underneath that tower is going to try his best. Has hit level 6. The condemn against the wall. He just came back to the lane. Already he has been punished and forced backwards.
That was not worth it in the slightest.
It's like, okay, you got a CS, but you just lost so much of your HP, I should say, as getting caught between HP and hit points. Good game, Vince. But regardless, going to be coming around, getting a free blue buff.
So West AD carry West using his blue for a while as well. Orianna now picking hers up. Gragas getting his from Brobro. Cavalier down in the bottom lane, 15 CS to 25 on Aurelia. So yes, of course, Aurelia's a little bit further up. She's of course got to execute on her Q and the resets. And she has that cutlass thanks to those early double kills. Now with SGC's top lane, or duo lane, backing up, she gets another complete wave using her ultimate and pushes that into turret pretty rapidly. So I would like to see Aatrox down in his bottom lane a little bit more often now, because Cavalier is falling along in behind. He nearly managed to take down Viziality 1v2 earlier on after a bit of help and that gank, putting Viziality low. But he needs a bit more attention. Aatrox is farming a little bit too much of his own jungle, and Zac, he's not going to be able to do those big engages, he's not going to be able to be that ball delivery system if he dies the second he lands.
Yeah, he has just jumped back in again, takes a lot of punishment though for his aggression. This tower will be falling, so that's first objective going into the hands of LowLandLions. Looking to follow off from where they left off against SK Gaming. They looked really strong there, and already they're taking the ball by the horns here, and they're just wanting to push right forward. And this is also going to allow them, because they've picked up this first tower, to potentially rotate their dual lane to top and save that tower as well. So this lane switch up could pay off for them.
We have Brobro up there in that top lane again. We've mentioned before he's been doing well, being in the right place at the right time. Is more so going to cause that again. He does get a stun onto Lula, unloads a full combo, but it's not quite enough to take him any further than half health, and a quick repel gets him back into the lane to help out. Nice try here from LowLandLions. I do like this idea, but do they have the damage? There's no vision on there whatsoever by SGC. They know this because they pinged it, but they also have changed their mind halfway through the fight. Given up on the dragon.
Yeah, they were just falling down too fast, and there was always that possibility that Zac would just be flying over with Elastic Slingshot, get a double kill. That's always the risk there when you try these early dragons, but I'm happy that they made the smart call and ended up backing away. I'm Heat thinking about potentially engaging is the word I was looking for with Kjali's, but it's not going to happen. Orianna's going to be fine. That being said, though, they may try the dragon now. They've got enough cavalry, they've got enough backup, and their jungler's down. Yeah,
Lucian's also bought now this time, which he hadn't done before, so he's got a bit more damage himself. They still have Vayne and Sona in the top lane, thanks to them having not finished the turret in time, so they know they've got the numbers advantage. And yes, LowLandLions will be able to pick up this Drake for free without any kind of contest from SGC. SGC are pushing that middle turret a little bit aggressively to try and do what they can, but they know it's not going to be much, and they do have to back away almost as soon as they kill all the creeps. I like the idea of what they're doing now. The rotate is there. The option is possible. They know everyone's in the bottom half of the map, so they've just finished off the Drake. So sending 4 people up to this top tier 2 turret onto Morso is a smart play if they can pull it off, and they need to pull it off quickly because Brobro and Lulu are closing in.
Oh, Shockwave will be landing. Morsu's doing a lot of damage, but he has fallen. And that's going to be Vayne picking up that third kill. This should result in another tower as well. And that top inner tower will be falling, unless Brobro has something to say about it. He's coming in. Cocoon flies out, not able to land, but he has managed to survive and keep that tower alive as well.
Gragas were missing from that middle lane too. Zac made that call, so they immediately had to back away. If it was just Brobro and Lulu, they probably could have stayed and pushed it. But the fact that they saw Gragas was missing, they were going to get sandwiched. They were losing a lot of health already. They couldn't risk it. So it was a nice try. They put a lot of damage down onto it. They did get the kill onto Morso, which could have been avoided if Morso hadn't been quite so aggressive. If he'd have waited a bit longer for the support of Lulu and Elise, he may have actually got away with it, and we might have had a fight on our hands. But he didn't know there was people laying away. He didn't know Orianna and Aatrox were there. He thought it was just Vayne and Sona, and he could have survived against them alone for a bit longer. As it was, a bit more aggressive, a bit more damage than expected, and he lost his life.
That is an early Blade of the Rune King as well onto Vayne. So that's a pretty terrifying situation to find yourself in. But meanwhile, in the mid lane, Kialis is just going to be harassing Maya. Nothing too big to kick off because no objectives are really that available, especially as Dragon's still dead for the next few moments.
Yeah, we've got about 3-4 minutes still on the Dragon. Looking to see a perhaps mid-turret kill over from Brobro and LowLandLions friends. Do see Gragas goes over the wall, immediately pushes Mia straight back with that ultimate. The slows there as well from Kialis. Mia flashes over into the Wraith camp before Brobro can get in range, but it doesn't matter. Heat's got enough damage on his own, and Brobro will just settle in, pushing their lane.
Yep, going to be happy with that kill. And now it's just Gladic that is standing in the way. Heat coming back through the Wraith camp, and even though this tower's pretty high on hit points, you got 3 angry players batting this one down. Morsu coming around from the side. Gladic's taking so much damage though. The Bloodwell is going to be popped. Can he actually do anything afterwards? Cavalier flying in from the side, going to be bouncing around as well, chasing after Brobro. But in doing so, is he tunnel visioning here? Because the rest of LowLandLions have got into position. They are quite weak, so they're going to have to back away.
We do see Vayne coming down from the top lane, pops that final hour, flashes into range of Heat, uses the Cutlass for the slow. Gragas' body slams over the wall. Lucian's here now, also taking a lot of damage from Vayne. Cavalier leaps forward. Heat takes the Lulu ultimate for the bonus health, and he's still on the run. Lost a couple of auto attacks coming out from Lula. Vayne needs to try and get in range. Body blocked by Sona, and a quick body slam away keeps Heat safe. But there's a lot of low health members on LowLandLions. Morso's basing. Gragas needs to base. They may still lose this mid-tier 1 turret.
Yep, lots of low players, as you say. Culling comes through to clear up the creep wave and does a pretty good job. Only 2 are standing, so they're not going to be able to pick it up just yet unless somebody goes ahead and tanks this one out. Looks like Cavalier has been given that task. The tower will be falling here. The question is, though, are they going to try and engage off the back of it? Crescendo comes through. Vizality's taking so much damage, forced to flash and E away just to save his life. But importantly, the tower does go down in mid.
There it goes. They did force out a couple of extra ultimates there from SGC, but the Dragon's still down for quite a while. They'll all be back up again before that fight comes. Bottom tier 1 turret is still standing, and SGC might want to rotate around and perhaps put some pressure onto that before the Dragon, but I'd more likely expect them to back off, clear the jungle, push the waves, wade things out, farm for a little while and be a bit more patient. Then the Drake's going to come up. We'll see a big 5v5 engagement in and around the Drake pit. Should it go in SGC's favour, they'll rotate and get the bottom turret as well. If it goes in LowLandLions' favour, they'll rotate and get the mid turret. But that's still about 3 minutes away, so it's going to be a bit of a lull period until then.
I'm a bit curious here, Panky. Maybe you can help me out. That Zac went for Warden's Mail first. Just instantly completed that. No health, no ability power or anything, just Warden's Mail. Is that something that you'd expect to see on Zac?
Not so much on Zac, but then I also wouldn't expect to see Zac so much.
Yeah, true.
It's just what I expect to see on a tanky top lane that's coming up against 2 very high AD damage champions at the mid game, Irelia and Lucian. Lucian's going to start building towards his Trinity Force, so he's going to get a bit of attack speed, and just in general he has fairly high base attack speed thanks to his passive and thanks to spamming the abilities between them. And then you've got, of course, Irelia that's just going to try and leap in, stick to targets and land lots of attacks. We do see the stun actually lands on Gladic, and it just about doesn't kill him, but a quick follow-up from Lucian and Lulu knocks him off as they lose the turret. Just a bit overextended, a bit too confident trying to save that turret, took his life. But yeah, when you've got Blade of the Rune King being built on Morsu's Irelia, when you've got Lucian in amongst that too, a quick Warden's Mail to slow down all their attacks can be very, very useful.
Yep, and that is going to be Vayne having yet another red buff. So you can see that LowLandLions, they don't want to hang around right now. They don't want to give any more kills to that vicious AD carry, and they are going to back away. Morsu is getting some free farm at top. Interestingly enough, goes for a Bilgewater Cutlass and a Ruby Crystal. So Blade of the Rune King incoming for Irelia.
Very much so. I mean, there's also the sense that if you complete that Randuin's quickly, you then use your E, the ball delivery system, you leap straight in, Orianna ult pulls everyone to you, and then you Randuins as well, stops them splitting up again quite so soon. Makes it a bit easier for the Sonar ult to land, so there's a little bit of cohesion in that as well. But ultimately, it's more because he was about to go up here into this top lane against more so into this Irelia matchup, so the attack speed slow becomes very, very powerful.
Yep, very much the case. Dragon is up in 8 seconds. You can see that Vitality is lurking around the shadows here. We've got I'm Heat in mid with blue buff, so he's going to be happy just to farm to his heart's content. But they don't have Elise, they don't have Bro, so that's going to stop him from getting Dragon for the next little while. And he has been spotted as well, so instantly some pings go down towards Dragon. You need a team, I think, to jump on this just yet. That being said, though, SGC, they potentially might be going for this.
They are slowly migrating in that direction after pushing their mid lane out, but they've waited long enough that Brober is back down here now and joining his team. So it's going to be a 4v4 down and around this dragon. Sorry, 4v5. Now that Morso's recalled and is heading his direction down the dragon, but we're glad to Q nuking through this Drake and using the Vayne damage that's helped a lot. But the Sonar goes out onto I Am Heat. Stun goes lands on the AD West AD carry EU West. A great Orianna ultimate hits 3 people. Viziati's forced to use the Lulu to keep himself alive, but he's exhausted. A nice dash in from Kata Q. His passive just come back up, so he can stick a bit longer than he thought. Brober is going to fall as well. Double kill onto Vayne. Gragas is still nearby, gets spotted by the ward, but is safe for now. Morso didn't even get a chance to join that fight, and SGC are looking really strong here.
That fight was all about the shockwave.
Yes.
That shockwave misses, SGC is screwed. But that was awesome. It landed on 3 players, crushed them down, and then allowed Vayne to just clean up. 5-1 now, Vayne. Unbelievable play there from SGC.
Very, very nicely done indeed. That Orianna ultimate made that fight. I'm amazed at how quickly they got through the Drake too. Yes, they have Aatrox and yes, they have Vayne, but they still had that down very, very low before LowLandLions even reacted. And I mean, they thought they'd taken too long. They'd let Brobo run all the way down. They'd let Morso recall and start making his way back out halfway across the base, but Dragon was dead. Nicely kited on LowLandLions, pulled them back and away, put them all in one spot, and as you said, that shockwave really turned it. We saw a great moment from GladiQ. He leapt in, tried to finish off the low health Visility, immediately turned around to run away because he didn't have his passive, and then it switched, then it came back up again, so he stayed a bit longer and helped pick up the extra 2 kills. But yes, 5-1 Vayne, Zeal and Crit Cloak on top of her Blade of the Ruined King. I expect to see SGC forcing a lot more fights right now.
Yep, and even though Lucian is scary early game, we're nearly 20 minutes through and still not finished off a Triforce. So the AD carry damage differential is astronomically big. In a straight 5v5 fight, SGC are terrifyingly strong, especially if the shockwave lands as we just saw before, because that positions everyone away from their AD carry and just frees up Vayne to do whatever she pleases. And Vayne will clean up, especially with the Blade of the Ruined King and Zeal this early on.
Interesting. I'll admit, when I first saw these picks go through, I mean, we found it very hard to research SGC, didn't know what it was. They picked champs which are, by a lot of accounts, outdated. Didn't know quite where to think this was going to go. But so far, they're playing this very cool, calm, collected. They had a great start. Even before that Shockwave ultimate, they were playing very steady. And that has just given them a huge... Okay, they're not in the gold lead, but it's given them, a massive morale boost. And knowing that Vayne is that strong, it's going to make them all feel great, and it's going to make LowLandLions pretty terrified of taking any fight that Vayne might be involved in. See Lucian down in the bottom lane now here with Vayne. If he's not careful, she's going to 1v1 him down, just straight up kill him when she sees him. There's nothing that he can do about that. And well, the top side of that, Morso and Broto looking to try and perhaps finish off this top turret, but they've got company in the form of Aatrox.
I feel like a lot of the burden right now is on worst AD carry shoulders, because he's got the kills as Vayne. That's exactly what you want, precisely. In fact, speaking of which, he's going heavy after Visility, who is forced to flash away once again with the culling as well. But going back to the point I was making, if Vayne can carry this, you've been given the foundations to do so. So much pressure is on worst AD carry. Let's hope from SGC's perspective that he doesn't live up to his name.
English is hard when you're from Newcastle.
You had to make that joke.
SGC. I delayed.
It's not exactly false though.
They do rotate to the bottom lane. We see Aatrox and Vayne down here finishing off that tier 1 turret, and they immediately leap further in onto Gragas, force him to use that ult defensively to back away. Lulu's now coming down the river. There's 3 people closing in on these two. They might be able to catch them off guard, but at the same time, Cavalier and Mia in the top lane have got more so for company.
Yep, they do. But LowLandLions trying to group together at bot. Dragon is still not up, so just a case of clearing out the wave and stopping them from pushing that inner bottom tower. Again, we've reached a bit of a lull, so let's have a look. We've been putting a lot of the spotlight on Vayne, but you've got Randuin's Omen on Zac, and you've got an Aegis of the Legion on Aatrox first, which is quite interesting.
Not too uncommon to see Aatrox jungles building Aegis the Legion, but yeah, I'd normally expect to see a Spirit of the Ancient Golem first. That's normally where it goes, but I mean, this comp is a lot of the case around protecting Vayne, keeping her alive, getting that initiate, getting that engage with the ball delivery system, blowing the initial damage, that shockwave, getting everyone low, and then keeping Vayne alive while she cleans everyone up. That's what they want to go with. So he's not so worried about him being tanky, not so worried about staying alive himself. He's going to have his passive for a lot of the fights, but will just go in there on top of that shockwave with that knock up to help increase the CC they've got while Vayne does the carrying. And while he's doing that, the aura that he's got from the Aegis of the Legion will help keep her away from too much of the AoE passive damage that's going on. And it doesn't then so much matter if he dies afterwards, because in theory, everyone's crazy low and Vayne's there to clean up whether he's alive or dead.
Yeah. So 1 minute to go on Dragon. Triforce has finally been finished off from Lucian. Irelia looking pretty big as well, though. Blade of the Rune King first item, and then Phage and the Sheen. So got the components of the Triforce on top of that. And Elise isn't exactly doing bad. As I said before, involved in a lot of those early kills. 0, 3, and 5 isn't the most flattering of scorelines, but Brobo's been doing work on him. He's actually being engaged on from Gladic. Will be body slamming away, and that's going to mark the end of that small engage.
Do you see 4 members of SGC here in this middle lane now? Vayne, though, stuck in that bottom lane at the moment, waiting for the Lucian push to head in her direction. Does land a little bit of damage onto him, but needs to be very careful. Tumbles straight into a stun from Brobo. Cleanses, but it's not going to make no difference whatsoever. And at least picks herself up a 500 gold bonus and a quick kill. But Lucian did still take a lot of damage in that, and now SGC are closing in.
Yep, they'll be happy if they can get these 2 kills. They've picked up 1. Crescendo, on top of that, will be blocking a player in place. That being said, though, Bloodwell is not going to come to the rescue, and, well, Sona dies.
Yeah, Sona just caught out in a little bit too much of the wrong position. LowLandLions knew that rotate was coming through. They were ready for it. They were following it. And unfortunately for Sona, she was stuck on the wrong side of that red buff. But take a Sona kill over a Lucian kill almost any day. This situation, though, it results in a 2-for-1 trade in LowLandLions' favour.
Now they are looking to put the shoe on the other foot and do a bit of aggression themselves, realizing that Dragon is now live and they are effectively in a 5 versus 4 situation. It's free, so they're just going to take the global gold and the experience.
SGC might have something to say about this. They're sending Aatrox and Orianna down. That's another ball delivery system, so to speak. There's vision now thanks to that ball. The Dragon is getting quite low, and here comes the rest of the team. Aatrox goes over, Shockwave goes off. Not enough damage in the even with the smite. In fact, the smite from Gladic doesn't go off, but here comes Cavalier. He's over the wall, and they are all so low. Vayne's just got to get in range for the final hour. Here she goes. She's going to unload onto Kialis, but the exhaust is there. They have finished off Elise as Cavalier's trying to fight more so stuck in this Dragon Pit. Quick passive prop from Gladic Q, a little bit exposed, and that last proc of ultimate from Morso finished him. There's the Randuins, and Cavalier managed to pick up the killer onto Irelia. 3-for-1 trade. Yes, they lost the Drake, but SGC are going to pressure this mid lane turret now, and if they can get it, that will be the better trade. But Gragas is coming back out, and with the culling up, I imagine LowLandLions will be able to defend it.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. Culling comes through, clears the creep wave, and Gragas is here. So at the end of the day, let's take stock. 1-for-3 trade, as you say, with a Dragon going on the side of LowLandLions. They're going to force SGC back, and it's going to pretty much reset itself again, where it seems to me that not a great deal happens, then Drake spawns and all hell breaks loose.
That is how, unfortunately, this patch, and it's why it started to get stale, that's why I'm glad we had the new one. The way it kind of went. Teams started to understand everyone so well, they understood the meta quite so well, they knew the champions and knew exactly how it's played, and with the amount of ward vision that goes on, purely from the supports, all you could do is wait for these big objectives where you knew you could force people into one place. As we see, worst AD carry, you, wow, solos down Vitality again. He had support there from Sona, but all she did was give him a quick move speed boost. Yeah, that was it. She didn't ult, she didn't power chord, she just gave a quick move speed boost and went, all right, peace out, this one's yours.
Yep, so now Vayne has finished off the Blade of the Rune King, the Phantom Dancer, and has a pickaxe, plus about 1,000 gold.
Not quite enough for the Last Whisper.
So yeah, not enough for Last Whisper, but is going to be building towards that. And already, you look at the items from the 2 AD carries, pretty stacked in Vayne's favour.
I'm watching Orianna and Zac here heading up towards Morso, recalling in the push. Are they going to check? Not with any abilities. gets on out of there in time. But Vayne, as a result, which is, oh, you're pushing top lane, well, I just got killed bot, now I'm going to recall, and I'm going to take all that farm from the top lane. And it's even richer. 7-2, so while the gold advantage is slightly in LowLandLions' favour, that gold is spread out amongst all 5 of their players, that 3,000. As the majority of SGC's gold is on that Vayne, that hyper carry, that AD carry. And well, they're doing a good job of keeping her alive at the moment. She seems to have quite a bit of mechanical skill for someone with the name Worst AD Carry. And this is Sly.
This is ballsy.
Gotta be quiet and speak like David Attenborough, because there is technically no delay. There's noise cancelling headphones, but just to be sure, Brobo's come to find it, but he's not there in time. Aatrox picks up the Baron, and SGC are chasing down LowLandLions.
Yeah, He's trying his best to escape. Here comes a Let's Bounce from Cavalier. Nice slow, though, from Lulu. The Glidland's playing off. Here comes a culling from the side, but basically a pea shooter against Baron, let's be honest. Didn't do a great deal of damage. Did force them back. Still, though, that is a free Baron for SGC.
Completely free. And we saw LowLandLions, they thought, could they, maybe, are they? Well, go check it out. Oh god, they have. Run away. And they have good disengage thanks to the Gragas barrel, and you saw the culling there. They weren't going to run straight through that tiny choke point thanks to it. And if someone had got a bit closer, there's a Lulu ultimate as well. So they were just far enough away that they were able to disengage. But now these next 4 minutes are going to be very hairy for LowLandLions.
Yeah, and just going back onto what you said before about a lot of the gold being on Vayne's shoulders. Vayne has the most gold right now in this game, which from Vayne's perspective is like the best news ever.
Yep.
So 10,000, the nearest on his team is at about 9,000, which is AP mid. So again, it just goes to show how big Vayne is, plus the Baron buff, plus 1.3k to spend. So when it does go back, it's going to be a last whisper. It goes from bad to worse for LowLandLions.
I mean, the next on the gold count is Irelia. She's pretty big. She's got that Blade of the Ruined King now, and she's got that Trinity Force, and she's looking probably to build a Guardian Angel next, I'd suspect. And once she gets that completed, it's going to be a little bit of an issue for SGC to keep her off of AD Carry West. I mean, you did mention before how she sticks to you like glue, and when they've got that Guardian Angel, it's going to make it even harder. But it's now on SGC to really make that play before she completes it. And here they come. 5-man rotating towards the bottom lane. They knew Irelia and Elise were here, and they're looking to catch her out. Elise is the one with the ping on her head, and she's surrounded. Beautiful dodge of that Sonar ultimate using the repel, but now Brobo caught out by Cavalier. Takes the Lulu ultimate to knock him up, but it is just to disengage. LowLandLions not looking to turn this back on SGC because they have that Baron buff. They don't know where everyone is. They were just looking to get Brobo out safe and live to fight another day.
So both supports have used their ultimates. Wild Growth Crescendo no longer going to be on the table, but Baron buff. SGC, 28 minutes through, they're going to have regen. Gladic is actually going after Kiara, realizing that ultimate is no longer available. The rest of the team doing work in mid. Here comes the engage, however, the culling as well, doing so much damage to Maya, who gets hit by the Gragas ultimate. Still nobody's fallen. Exhaust used onto Vayne. All the burst damage, but it's not quite enough. Iron Heat will be falling first, followed very quickly by his jungler off Brobo. 2-for-2 trade. How can they mop this one up? Mosu is so strong right now, but he's finally going to fall. A very heroic effort at the end. Vitality is doing a lot of damage himself, picks up the double kill. Bloodwell has been popped from Gladic, and that is going to be the ace. 3-for-5 trade in SGC's favor.
Very sloppy fight in some ways, but beautiful combination from I'm Heat, blowing that ultimate back in, and then the culling landing so much damage on Orianna, forcing her to flash over the wall to try and get out to safety. She just about managed it, but then they were split right down the middle. So we had Cavalier and Orianna off to one, Gladic and Orianna off to one side, trying to fight off just Brobro and Lulu. Back on the other side, we had Lucian, Gragas, and more so leaping onto Vayne, Sona, and Cavalier. Now, Sona with that ultimate made it very hard for them to keep him off Vayne, and Vayne died pretty rapidly. But in doing so, they had to run straight past the Baroned up Gladic, who'd come back in from the other side. They'd run straight past the Baroned up Mia. Yes, he lost a lot of health, but he came back in and still unloaded his damage. And they took so much in the process. Okay, yes, finally, we killed Vayne. She's the fed one. But Aatrox still does a lot of damage. And, well, with that Haunting Guys, so does Cavalier, to be honest, and they were able to clean up the fight.
And I also like to bring the attention to the aforementioned Cavalier. He's yet to die, is that? Now, Zach
he hasn't even popped his passive.
Exactly, he's a very ballsy champion. You want to jump on the back lines, you want to be in the middle of those fights. Dragon goes down to Brobro, so Smite will be landing. Now Keolis is just pushing away both Sona, Ori, and also the player of Gladic. So they do get the Dragon, but still they are certainly behind, not on gold, but in terms of map presence.
Yeah, they are Only down one turret, doesn't sound like much, but when that middle tier 2 turret is the turret they're behind on, that's quite a lot of map presence, map control of their own jungle that's gone. They've also taken a lot of damage to that mid tier 3 turret, which again, not a kill, but it's damage, so it does mean that when SGC do decide to rotate back around there and push it again as 5, they're not going to have to wait for quite so many waves. And if they do so in such a way that they just catch LowLandLions off guard, they can swing around and kill it before LowLandLions even regroup to defend, and then they've got an open inhibitor to fight off, and that's not so easy.
Yeah, that is very true. But I've got to say that some of the influential characters on LowLandLions side are starting to build up some items themselves. As you said before, Irelia is getting big. Gragas has a Rabadon's Death Cap and Athene's Unholy Grail. So if he's landing his combos, Vayne's going to die very, very fast.
Yep.
Plus Lucian has now finished off a Last Whisper, so his damage is nothing to smirk at. So overall, even though we've been bigging up SGC a lot with the Baron take, still, LowLandLions are well and truly in this game.
Oh, definitely. That Gragas combo we saw in the last game, that hit 3 people.
Yeah.
It hit Vayne, it hit Orianna, and it hit Gladic. And Vayne and Orianna are the perfect 2 targets, and it did so much damage to them. So yeah, by no means are LowLandLions out of this. But SGC are certainly the driving force. They're out. Here we go. Rotating around to that mid turret before LowLandLions could respond and before they could defend it. More so is in the bottom lane. He grabs the tier 2 turret while SGC are pushing the inhib. It's not quite dead yet. We do see West AD carry tumbling into the stun, but they're going to go straight in onto Broro. Beautiful Gragas ultimate splits them straight down the middle. Broro is very low again. They still have more so here, so it's still 4v5. The inhib will go down. We're still here to see anyone on either side die, but SGC has certainly lost a lot of health. They all group up, and another great Gragas barrel forces Vayne out. Cavalier might be about to experience his first death. Down to his passive he goes. They're not going to stay around to save him, and Visiality is going to pick himself up a quick and easy kill. Down in the bottom lane though, Irelia has spent this entire time, is now onto the inhib turret. She even face tanked it down for a while, focusing on the inhib itself. And LowLandLions are chasing SGC out. They're forcing them not to recall. They cannot get out of there. And in actual fact, Orianna and Aatrox are running back instead, so they're going to be able to cut off the retreat, but they have lost the inhibitor.
Flash was burnt from Sona, will still be falling down from Heat. Monsu still at the bottom lane. 1 versus 2 situation. Gladix Bloodwell has been popped, but he will be coming back.
As that fight began.
So unlucky. Worst AD carry, though, is in a really sticky situation, and he'll be falling as well. So across the board, LowLandLions trying to make plays, and I've got to say deja vu there from Morsu. His team is in a 4 versus 5. Better take bottom inhib.
Yeah, just like we saw in the previous game, as soon as that split push began, SGC didn't quite know what to go with it, so they went for a straight push, and yeah, they did the right thing. They grabbed that turret, but when it came to leaving again, they went into pairs instead of completely splitting up. It would have been even more, it would have still been a challenge, sorry, if they'd split up into 4 separate people, because there were still 4 separate people alone in the lines chasing them out again. But, I don't know, maybe if someone had managed to hide in the wrong bush or sneak a recall, maybe Worst AD Carry could have got out of there while Gragas was chasing Sona or something. But either way, both inhibs are down. But again, LowLandLions got what is arguably the more valuable one in that bottom lane.
And with Baron respawning, it's even more influential now. It impacts the game even more. So it comes to a point, if LowLandLions can stall this one off and just clear mid, letting that bottom wave of creeps, the super minions, push down through the inhib and potentially start attacking the Nexus, SGC, the Nexus Towers I should say, SGC are going to be forced to make a decision, and that's to either engage, try a quick Baron, or just go ahead and defend bottom. And in doing so, then LowLandLions are going to look to pounce.
Same. They're trying to fight for control over the vision of the Baron here at the moment. There's Oracle's up on Lula, so he's able to take majority control over it. Not quite the same thing on Lulu yet. Lulu, though, has Twin Shadows and Shirley's Reverie at the moment, which is what we saw in Annie at the end of the 55-minute game against SK. But she's nowhere near as rich as him. Oh, sorry, she's obviously rich as him. We do see the ball delivery going in.
Heat has just been absolutely decimated. Cavalier taking the front row right now. Ignite's been used as well. This could be Gragas falling. In fact, he's managed to survive by the skin of his teeth. Culling comes through. Orianna picks up the first kill. And they're looking to chase down LowLandLions. They get the 1 kill. 47-second respawn timer on the jungler of LowLandLions. That could actually transition into another Baron. Or they may try and catch out LowLandLions.
We do have a massive wave of creep pushing their bottom lane. They wanted to rotate back and pick up the Baron, but in doing so, they've delayed themselves for so long trying to pick up that Lulu that now they have that super wave creep. Again, they are still changing their mind. Actually, maybe we could go back and pick up the kills. Now they do get Kialis, but they still have to send someone back to their base. Cavalier is heading in that direction, but he's not quick enough. They waited too long, and those super creeps are still pretty strong. So they lose one Nexus turret. Now the rest of them are recalling. LowLandLions can keep pressuring this mid lane, and that takes the super creep pressure off themselves. And well, just by grabbing that bottom inhib, okay, they lost their jungler, they lost their support, but they actually gained at the end of that fight by taking a very important Nexus turret.
Because SGC did not take an objective off those kills.
They couldn't. Simple as that.
Exactly.
They hung around. They were a bit too indecisive, trying to catch supports.
Yeah.
Do we go for the Baron? Do we turn and spring on them? Someone's not going base. They took the fight when they needed to. It's like, right, there's a big wave of creeps going. We take a fight now, or we back off. Take a fight. Oh god, now what do we do? Oh god, we lost the turret.
That's the problem when you lose the bottom inhib. That's why we said that, you know, arguably taking bottom inhib compared to mid is worth it. Because LowLandLions, yes, they lost Bro. Yes, they ended up losing Kialas, but they're going to take that trade for a Nexus Tower any day of the week.
Yeah, and I mean, mid inhib, it's easier to defend the wave of super creeps up the middle lane than it is in your bottom lane because of how accessible the rest of the map is from that middle lane. From the bottom lane, however, can't get to quite so many places in such a short amount of time. So now Aatrox is down there and he's going to go deal with this steady push from Morso, but Aatrox is a very big component of this wombo combo that SGC have pulled out. And here is where LowLandLions are going to shine. Yes, they were way behind to begin with. Yes, Vayne is incredibly fed and she just forced a flash out of Lulu, but the gold lead has always been with LowLandLions. They still have a bunch of very powerful champions. The Culling starting to do quite a bit of damage. The Gragas combo is murdering people. 3-1-6, and he has a massive amount of ability power with that Death Cap and Void Staff on top of his Athenes. And well, it may have been a little too long to wait for SGC. Yes, Vayne is very strong. She's a great hyper carry. Yes, Orianna can land an ultimate that does a lot of damage, potentially. But if they don't get that perfect combination off, Gragas has been landing so many brilliant ultimates that LowLandLions are going to start to swing these fights.
And if Gragas can manage to knock worst AD carry towards his own team, Irelia pounces on top of you and there's no escaping. You're going to die. Because Blade of the Rune King slows Vayne down. Yes, you could have all the best mechanics in the world, but a fed Gragas, I mean, the Void Staff as third item is just brutal to look at. That is going to crush even the likes of Zac. Zac's going to feel that too, because it's going to be cutting through his Spirit Visage magic resist. Another dragon going down for LowLandLions. This is very reminiscent of their game against SK Gaming, actually, where for large parts of the game they were behind, but they finished really strong.
So Vayne goes back down to the bottom lane now to get those creeps and help defend it. They do rotate towards the dragon, but they're a little bit too late as they stop to kill wards along the way, and now they know that it's gone. The Baron still standing, has a mixture of wards across it, so both teams have a little bit of vision in the area. Lulu does have an Oracle's up herself now, so they're going to go back and LowLandLions will start to clean out those SGC wards. The SGC Oracles on Lulu has worn out, but the Twin Shadows is coming out actually from Kialis. They're going to take this fight.
Oh, Gragas damage is so huge. Here comes Morsu from the side. Cavalier jumping back in with a Let's Bounce. Bro very nearly dying, repelling back up though. It's probably just going to delay the inevitable as Maya will be finishing off that kill. LowLandLions in a really sticky situation. Wild Growth used on the support, and now the flash in from Vayne, eating all the culling damage though. Needs to be super careful still. 2-for-0 trade. LowLandLions, really difficult situation to defend this one.
I mean, he wasn't taking too much damage from the culling, but then the Gragas barrel went off, and that was bang. That was big damage, and as a result, the attack speed so much she was not getting the kills she was chasing, so she chose to turn away and avoid more damage as well. But the inhibitors back up. LowLandLions took that fight. They thought Vayne was in the bottom lane defending against the creeps. That was not the case. She'd rotated back around. This is a little bit risky here. Yes, the inhib has respawned. Yes, the mid is up, and 3 LowLandLions players are still there. But if you try and rush down this Baron, the super creeps will get your bottom inhib. There's still a Gragas alive who has a massive amount of burst damage, and right now you're standing on a ward. All the recalls get cancelled, and those super creeps are still edging towards that bottom lane. Unless someone from SGC can get a recall off shortly or get back to that base, they may still lose that inhib.
It's a really nice play from LowLandLions that they're refusing to give up here, chasing Gladic, who again is forced to cancel his recall. Dark Flight away.
That might have just given the Baron to LowLandLions.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly what I was about to say, because you're forcing away an Aatrox who's already very low, who has the smite on the side of SGC. In doing so, if he comes back to try and steal away this Baron, he could risk actually losing his life.
That's what he's trying to do.
Play.
There's a ward in there, so he's got vision on the health. He's hanging around nearby. Although looking at that, the team gave him the call. Don't try it. Back out. And LowLandLions, by stopping those recalls, by keeping the pressure up, by following SGC out, they've managed to pick themselves up the Baron. This is that experience we're going through. LowLandLions are a well-known team that have been around for a while, many different games as well, but they have the experience. SGC are showing here that they're not quite so well versed in what to do in these situations. They're getting some good fights, they're getting some good kills, but then what do we do afterwards? They're allowing themselves to be played, they're allowing themselves to be kited around the map. And well, slowly but surely, actual fact, despite having all these deaths on their team, LowLandLions are starting to creep ahead by taking the objectives that SGC were wanting or when they started the fights.
They seem to be pulling together more as one, like in unison. Just making the plays, forcing errors as well from SGC, because recalling in that position when LowLandLions were hungry to make plays, actually, as we said, cost them the Baron, and now it's all on LowLandLions to be the driving force. They're in the driver's seat, they're cruising down the highway, and SGC just have to hold on. They have to try and hold on this tower. At any point as well, you could see LowLandLions just decide, okay, let's go ahead and pick up that bottom inhib again, because it's vulnerable, we can just push in, we're stronger, let's make something happen.
So, LowLandLions with that Baron buff now pressuring the mid lane with both Gragas and Lucian. That combination destroys creep waves because of the wave clear they have in between them. Irelia down in that bottom lane has got Vayne for company. She's still got a Guardian Angel up too, but if she was to go on Vayne, honestly, there's a chance that Vayne could easily at least pop her Guardian Angel, perhaps kill her afterwards, so she needs to keep her distance. But everyone else is now spread across the rest of the map. Sona, Orianna, and Cavalier's Zach. I haven't seen him that often, I can't remember his name. Defending this middle lane turret now as Lulu's come to help out Gragas and Lucian in the top lane, both the junglers dueling out. Aatrox versus Elise straight up on this tier 3 turret. Gladic actually did quite a bit of damage, but ultimately just clearing wave after wave.
This is really interesting formation. It's a 1-3-1. So they're split pushing bottom and top while forcing 3 players mid. So they're trying to have this 3-pronged attack right now. Bro's pretty strong, so Aatrox has to be careful. Irelia against Vayne. Vayne is really, really big, but so is Irelia. And this is allowing
Irelia
Gragas...
has the most farm on her team.
Yeah, exactly. And this is allowing Gragas and also Lucian to just pressure mid. They've already taken this tower down pretty low. So if this gets any lower, you can actually see LowLandLions going all in.
Definitely, and they've got that Baron regen too, so a couple of pokes they're taking a little bit here and there. Not really going to stick to them. They're going to shrug it off and regen it back up pretty rapidly. They are happy to just sit here and keep funneling the CS towards both Lucian and Gragas. Gragas already has those very, very big items and is starting to build towards his Zhonya's Hourglass now, but more so is forced to run away from this ultimating Vayne.
Yep, and will be able to get back. That being said, though, again, these 3 players in mid are looking to push super hard. Culling comes through. Maya got caught by the very edge of Iron Heat's explosive cast. But still, they get the tower, and that's really all they wanted. They just want to pick up these 3 objectives without any loss of life.
Do just that. As we do see, in fact, the top lane, Vay goes in with the help from Cavalier, but Brobo gets condemned back towards the safety of his team. And, well, Cavalier's staying there. He's using the Let's Bounce right on top where Brobo is coming down, but the exhaust is there now from Lulu. Cavalier may have stayed a bit too deep. We do see Aatrox coming in from behind, actually. They get onto Lucian. Vayne's still doing a lot of damage here. Passive is up for Zach, so he's coming down. He will be back up shortly. LowLandLions have Morsu in the bottom lane. Mia and Lula both trying to deal with him. He's still got Guardian Angel, but he is on the run. A lot of damage coming out, but the topside fight has ended. Mia takes so much damage, forces the ult from Sona. There's the shockwave. Morsu very, very low. Bops down into Guardian Angel. He's going to come back up shortly, but Vayne's here now, and he should surely drop. Mia pops the Zhonya's Hourglass, just for good measure. That a kill over to Vayne does relieve some of the pressure from SGC's backdoor.
Yep, but that is a 2 for 0, and they weren't able to pick up an inhib, they weren't able to pick up any more objectives. So, in a way, I think SGC are going to be fairly happy with that result. They're not going to be too bothered because, you know, Irelia is dead for 45 seconds.
They ping straight onto the middle inhibitor. They know that LowLandLions still got Gragas in the bottom lane. They've seen him. They don't know where the rest of them are, but as it is, they're at Dragon. And, well, they're going straight up that middle lane trying to take that inhibitor down. They know if they can get this one, there's no kind of return from LowLandLions. They can't get the bottom one, so they'll have a bit of respite where they have pure damage, or pure pressure, sorry, heading in their side of the map instead of, like before, when they had to share it.
Yep, so they are going to be trying to back down this mid inhib. Cocoon comes through. If that had landed, that could have been Curtin's worst AD carry. He has been caught, however, from the Gragas ultimate. All hell breaks loose again. Kialis is taking point for his team. Culling comes through as well. Worst AD carry could be falling. That Cocoon will finally land. The AD carry does go down. That's Vayne. So much gold on top of that champion. But here comes Cavalier from the side. Let's bounce and flashing on top of Iron Heat, who's instantly going to use his Zhonya's Hourglass to try and mitigate all of that damage. Randuin's Omen comes down as well, charging up another elastic slingshot. Not looking good for Iron Heat. at all here, but he is able to survive by the skin of his teeth, and in doing so, they're forcing back Cavalier.
Cavalier has to leave as soon as Aurelia shows up because she is still incredibly strong, and the remaining champions SGC don't have much health and they don't have the damage to get through her. She'll just leap from low target to low target as Mia has to get on out of here. It does have the move speed buff, so she should be fine. Cavalier needs to play a little bit closer to his chest, but now Morso's here with Kialis. They're going to keep the chase going. Aatrox is coming back. I'm not sure how much health he can really be. Puts the slowdown, but it doesn't seem to bother Morso because of that Trinity Force. There is the slow and the move speed buffs from Orianna, though that may be what it took, and Morso does back away. So 2 for 2, but the damage that LowLandLions took, the non-stop pressure they put on SGC, keeping these guys from healing, keeping these guys from going back for as long as possible, as we've seen throughout the game.
And they did the right thing. They killed Vayne first. They got rid of all of that damage, the sustained damage that Vayne brings to the table. So after that, you would have thought, oh, okay, this is pretty easy wins for LowLandLions, but the complete opposite. Cavalier jumps in. They've still got the Shockwave. Orianna now, if you look at her items, is huge. So even if Vayne is no longer a part of the team fight, they have so much more damage in their back pocket to pull out whenever they need.
So, everyone back up again. Now that chase took so long that the straight up respawn timers were finished. Do you see it? Back out towards this mid lane as Baron comes up again in another 20 seconds. So, I expect to see it go a little bit quiet till that Baron fight begins. We'll start seeing both teams. Oracle's up again there on Kiale, starting to place wards. We've got Oracle's on Sona as she comes across this side of the map, starting to gain control of that Baron pit again, taking out enemy wards. But with them also down in the bottom lane, we do see the ult actually goes on to Bro. SGC going to try and make it happen right here, right now.
And Irelia is still at bot lane, so this is effectively a 5 versus 3 situation now, as Bro has just fallen. So they're going to be looking to ping on this inhibitor, but now that Irelia has rejoined her comrades, this could actually backfire for SGC if they stay around for too long. This is smart. They're going to pick up the inhib and just back away, because free objective, back away, don't allow the Fed Morsu, don't allow the Fed Iron Heat to punish you.
Yeah, I mean, yes, they've got a little bit of health missing already, so if Morso came back while they were still in aim, they could have leapt on her and abused the fact they're missing health and really taken the fight. But because the inhib was already low from their previous push, because they had killed Bro pretty rapidly, they knew they could switch up straight away and take the fight. Now, they are in the Baron pit, but are they doing it? No, they're not. They're going to leap over the wall onto Kialis. They do miss him with all the crowd control. Randuin's is used by Cavalier to try and catch it. May have been a bit of a waste because they're not going to follow up the rest of the team, so they're not getting this Baron done. They've got this mid-inhib down, but LowLandLions are just toying with them from a range while there's a big wave of creeps going top, a smaller wave heading in the bottom direction, and now Morso is going down there too. So they could still lose that bottom inhib if they are not careful.
Yes, that's definitely the case. Kialis, however, has been caught out of position from LowLandLions while growth comes through, and that will seal the deal as far as the support for LowLandLions is concerned. They will back away. Still, though, Morsu is consistently doing this. He's just being a terror at bot lane. He's not really allowing SGC any breathing room.
Soon as he showed himself, instant recall spam came out from SGC. All he did was sit down there, use his ultimate to clean the wave so the creeps would push, and then back away a little bit. He hasn't quite left yet, so he's trying to hopefully bait someone down here. But the more he baits down there, the more chance LowLandLions have of pulling this off, rushing down the Baron. There's no wards in here for SGC, which is quite a surprise considering they were just in there. They had control over it. They didn't place anything. They're now heading back up in this direction. Morso still down the bottom, but this may be dead before anyone arrives, and it is. Lucian picks up the Baron. Orianna misses completely, trying to pick up Kialis on his retreat, and SGC, again, that inexperience, the nerves are kind of showing through. This decision-making is not quite there.
Even if the Shockwave had landed, I'm not too sold that Kialis would have died. No, to be honest.
No.
Would have been just fine anyway.
He didn't have wild growth, that was on cooldown, but the damage from that alone would not have been enough. However, I'm not sure the follow-up was really there either. If Orianna could have chased her down on his own, yeah, Orianna would have finished her off, but there was enough support there from LowLandLions that Orianna, after the shockwave and a dissonance, would have probably had to back off. But still, it was worth a try. It's a little embarrassing that it missed.
It is. A bit of egg on the face, but still, at the end of the day, even though to just look at the scoreline, it looks pretty stacked in SGC's favor, 27-17. That really doesn't tell the whole story at all.
Well, the gold count there, it shows you exactly that. While the kills are in their favor, they are down 8,000 gold. They are down by 3 towers. They're down by 2 Barons. They're down by multiple dragons.
Yeah.
And well, LowLandLions now have a huge Gragas on their team. They have a pretty big Lucian and a massive Aurelia, all gunning for this Vayne. She does go straight into Broto, though.
Bro's in a pretty sticky situation. Does have cavalry coming in. Meanwhile, at bot lane, Morsi is going to be going one-on-one against Maya. Worst AD carries now in a really bad position, but Gragas ultimate actually pushing it back to safety. And now, suddenly, Cavalier and Gladic come out of nowhere. Going to be trying to turn this one back round on its head. Crescendo rains right through. Lands onto a couple of players. It was a beautiful crescendo. And now they're going to look to pick up the pieces. 1-for-1 trade thus far, as the passive from Zac has been popped as well. Is he going to be falling? Absolutely. Vitality will be coming in. And LowLandLions managed to sneak themselves ahead in this fight, and now chasing down SGC with this Baron buff.
It would have been a great fight for SGC, but they didn't. Vayne was too low health when it started that she couldn't come back in to clean it up without risk of getting popped instantly instead. And with Mia down in that bottom lane, obviously not being able to land a beautiful shockwave in conjunction with that beautiful Sonar ultimate, she died straight up to Morsu, who's now got a free inhibitor from it.
Oh, now they're going to be engaging with the Dark Flight. Here comes worst AD carry from the side. Heat was forced to use that on his Hourglass. Will be picking up 1 kill. Can he go any better? Double kill now for worst AD carry. He's looking for his triple on Bro, who's going to be repelling on up. Morsu has joined the fight as well. A shutdown goal coming in from Irelia. Lula's going to follow suit as well, as the ace comes in from LowLandLions, and with a couple players of over 60-second respawn time, they could finish the game here.
May very well be game. Morsu's incredibly tanky, and there's a lot of damage there, and with the attack speed boost from Elise, Bro's done a lot of damage himself, so they're just going to face tank down this turret, make their way through the second Nexus turret. Of course, the first one died to creeps a while ago, and now more so, tunnels straight on the Nexus. Oh, another immediate dash away from that Orianna ultimate. Does have to leave, but now with the Nexus completely exposed, bottom inhib down, top inhib exposed, the Baron buff still on them for about another minute. LowLandLions are in a very comfortable position.
I would say this time around, though, Morsu's Blade Surge was awesome to get him out of that shockwave, jumping back onto a creep to completely avoid all the damage that would have followed. But important to mention that actually while they were going for that second Nexus tower, their own took a pounding as well, one of which is around quarter hit points. They're not going to manage to keep it alive, though.
Yeah, they do respawn in time. Okay, there's that super creep pushing out mid, but it's nothing too worrying for LowLandLions. There comes their inhib as well, so that's the last couple of super creep waves they're going to see in a while. SGC now kind of locked in their base for a bit. If they do leave, then Nova really is easily going to split push that top lane down and take that inhibitor she's done in the bottom lane already. They also know the bottom lane is going to be pushed in by super creeps themselves, while the rest of LowLandLions are probably going to come down middle, using that Lucian Gragas combo to punish and push in that tower, as they have been all game long. But SGC still got a lot of potential. There's still a lot of strength in them here. If they can get those perfect fights off again, that Orianna Ball Sonar combo, they still do a lot of damage with them, and Vayne can still clean them up. However, right now, LowLandLions are playing very well and not giving them all the opportunity to have that perfect 5v5 combo they're looking for. They're keeping them split, they're keeping them spread out, and they're making them fight in slightly smaller skirmishes.
I have to ask, though, LowLandLions, this is their second consecutive game that's lasted over 52 minutes. They must be mentally drained of energy right now. The amount of concentration, 2 games in a row, and it's not showing any signs of letting up anytime soon. This could very well go on for an hour.
Easily. They are making that push through the mid lane and then backing away again, just cleaning the waves out. But here is Morsuno heading the bottom lane with the super groups and support. Bro heading in the top lane now, so they've got both of those waves pushing in, and they're starting to push themselves in, SGC, and spread them apart. They're just pushing that wedge in and mixing them out and forcing them into different positions. Now, we've seen Mia go to that bottom lane once and die to Aurelia straight up, so they need to rethink that strategy. This time around, they've sent worst AD carry West down there. Mia heading up top, but the rest of LowLandLions, 3 remaining members, are mid. Brober actually may have taken a bit too much damage here from Mia. Do see the elastic slingshot come out from Zac, but she does get away with a quick repel afterwards. Well, SGC certainly not afraid to leap in.
This is such on a razor's edge right now, Panky. Just one slip-up could be the difference between winning and losing, which after this amount of time is going to be brutal to whoever it goes by, as Lula and also Gladic are trying to keep this mid tower alive and kicking. That bottom inhib is still down for a little while longer. Baron is respawning in 1 minute 20, so I guess LowLandLions just want to poke down mid. If they can get a tower pick, then awesome. If not, they're maybe just going to go back and pick up the Baron instead.
Yeah, the Baron's there for a minute. Honestly, if this keeps going this way, SGC might be able to chase them out to the Baron and do something about it. It's it's going to be very, very reliant on where those other lanes are at the same time and what kind of health people are in. Gladic a little bit low at the moment. More poke coming out from that blue buff. Gragas is going to keep the pressure up. You see Cavalier going forward, can't quite land it. They do dangerously group up again on that Gragas barrel to hot away at the last second. More so in that top lane now, actually being chased out by Vayne, taking quite a bit of damage from it. They popped the LowLandLions, the true damage bolts are there. The Guardian Angel's been popped. Still no response from LowLandLions. Now they're coming across to help, but Brobo is on the Nexus. Cavalier's trying to do what he can to deal with him. More so is going to drop incredibly low up against this Vayne 1v1. Still not quite dead yet, but the rest of LowLandLions are there. More so survives. Brobo is down into his Guardian Angel. Almost down into his Guardian Angel. Didn't quite manage to get onto the Nexus, but he's delayed the rest of SGC, so they were able to lose worst they can carry. Beautiful Sonar ultimate. LowLandLions, though, they've got the health, they've got the numbers, they're looking to win this game.
Yeah, Gladic has got his Guardian's Angel, but it's not going to stop against 4 players chasing him down. There goes the Guardian's Angel pop here. 3 players have already died. So brave right now. Fortune favors the brave, but it's not going to be the case this time around. LowLandLions going to pick up the remaining couple kills. Ace and the inhib, and that's going to be the GG. What an awesome game. 2 games in a row, 55 minutes.